The stillness in my house has become deafening since the divorce. Every creak of wood beams and tick of clocks resonated across wide stretches of desolation. At 35, I found myself alone, running fingers aimlessly across frigid sheets in a bed that felt too large for only me. My chestnut hair fell in waves, past my shoulders as I stared at my reflection each morning, noticing the subtle changes time was etching into my features. A few silver strands here and there, lines there. Despite maintaining my figure through religiously dedicated yoga sessions and morning runs, I felt the hollowness creeping in. My body was still curved in all the right places, my 5 feet 7 inches frame toned from exercise, but something vital was missing. The house, a modest 3-bedroom I'd kept in the divorce settlement. The morning in October was cool as fallen leaves crunched beneath my boots, and the shelter smelled of chlorine and wet dog, with a chorus of barking booming off concrete walls. That's when I noticed him. A lovely German shepherd with clever amber eyes that seemed to pierce right through my carefully crafted defenses. His coat was black and brown, somewhat matted yet glistening beneath the fluorescent lighting. He sat with a serene dignity that stood out against the commotion. That's Carter, the shelter worker. Jenny informed me that he was 3 years old. He was abandoned by a breeder who fell on hard times. He is quite intelligent, but he needs someone special. Max's ears pricked forward, as if he understood what was being spoken, and his attention never left me. When I approached his kennel, he did not growl or leap like the others. Instead, he stood, tail swaying softly, nose pressed against the chain-link fence. Something snapped into place at that moment, like a missing jigsaw piece I hadn't realized I needed. The adoption paperwork seemed significant, like joining up for a new life. Jenny assisted me in gathering supplies, which included a soft bed, high-quality food, toys, and a solid collar. Hyun has been waiting for someone. Like you, she remarked with a knowing smile. Some dogs just recognize their owner. In the gentle glow of Max's first morning with me, I could hear his regular breathing alongside my bed, which quickly became my favorite alarm clock. Our link became stronger with each passing season. Spring blossoms transitioned to summer storms, fall leaves, and my original loneliness changed into relaxed happiness with his company. Those precious early treks became longer. More intimately, I discovered a secret path leading to a quiet pond where Carter could freely swim as I divulged my innermost secrets. His muscular form cutting through the water, muscles rippling beneath his shiny coat. I admired his strength and unrelenting dedication. "You are my guardian angel," I'd murmur while he shook water from his fur, his clever amber eyes fixed on mine. He'd rub his warm body against my knees, tail swinging gently as if to say, "I never leave you." The dating efforts became less frequent. Every man felt Max's tremendous protectiveness. Tom from yoga class barely got it through dinner before Max's low growls sent him out, whereas Michael, a lovely lawyer, lasted 3 dates. Until that fateful night we were on my bed, his hands wandering beneath my blouse when Max's barking erupted like thunder. The scratching at my bedroom door grew frantic, his deep growls mixing with desperate whines. Michael froze. "Sounds serious," Michael stammered, already reaching for his discarded shirt. "He's just protective." I tried explaining, but Max's barking reached a fever pitch. The door rattled in its frame from his determination to reach me. "Look, I should probably go call." Michael hurried down the stairs, Max's warning him, following him out once alone. I opened the door to find Carter trembling with protective energy, rushing to cover my face and concerned licks whimpering as he checked me over his body pressed close. Claiming me, those amber eyes fierce with possessive love. "It's okay, boy. I'm safe," I soothed, burying my face in his thick fur. "You're the only one I need." That night marked a shift in Max's bed, moving from the floor to right beside his warm presence, which kept the loneliness at I started better than any man could. Declining dates altogether, preferring our private walks and intimate evenings alone, our morning trail grew more isolated as Carter guided me deeper into the woods, his muscular form leading the way, pausing to make sure I followed those amber eyes that seemed to hold secrets, drawing me further from the world and deeper into our private paradise. Our isolated morning walk became an obsession. Each dawn found us wandering deeper into the woods, Max's powerful body forging ahead while I followed trustingly. His black and tan coat glistening with dew as he marked our private territory. That fateful morning started like any other. The mist hung low between the trees as we explored a new trail. Max's ears suddenly pricked forward, a low rumble building in his chest before I could react to a large Rottweiler burst. From the bushes, unleashed and aggressive time slowed as the dogs clashed in a fury of snarls and snapping teeth. Max's muscles bunched and flexed as he positioned himself between me and the attacker. The sound of their fight echoed through the trees, primal, violent, terrifying. I screamed for help, but we were too far from the main path. The Rottweiler's teeth found Max's shoulder, drawing blood that matted his beautiful fur. But my brave protector fought back fiercely, his powerful jaws and trained instincts prevailing until the other dog finally retreated with a yelp. "Oh God, Max," I cried, dropping to my knees beside him. He was panting heavily, blood trickling from the puncture wounds, but his first concern was still me. Those amber eyes searched my face as his tongue gently licked my tears away. We hurried home, where I tenderly cleaned his wounds in the shower, my hands trembling as I parted his wet fur. Carter stood patiently pressing against my body whenever I started crying again. His warm strength remained undiminished despite the injury. That night I couldn't bear him sleeping separately. "Come here, boy," I whispered. Patting the bed beside me, he leapt up gracefully, his large frame settling against mine as I stroked his. For the steady thump of his tail against the mattress soothed my lingering fears. "You saved me," I murmured into his neck, breathing in his musky scent. "My brave, beautiful boy." His response was a soft whine as he nuzzled closer with one paw draped possessively across my waist. The intimacy of the moment made me shiver. I'll never forget the night everything changed between Carter and me. His wounds from protecting me were healing, but seeing those small scars beneath his thick fur made my heart ache. Each gentle whimper as I tended his stitches tore at my soul. My brave, beautiful boy had risked everything for me that evening. I couldn't sleep. The moonlight filtered through my curtains, casting shadows across Max's powerful form beside my bed. His amber eyes studied me with that soul-piercing gaze that made me feel completely seen. My fingers trembled as I traced the healing marks on his shoulder. "You've given me everything," I whispered into the darkness. "Let me show you how much I love." My heart pounding, I crept downstairs to the kitchen. The smooth peanut butter glass jar felt cool in my shaking hands. Returning to our darkened sanctuary, Max's tail thumped softly against the sheets as I settled beside him. His warmth radiated against my skin. That first taste from my fingers made him whistle softly. Such gentle sounds from my fierce protector sent shivers through me as my confidence grew. I spread more where I yearned for his attention. His warm tongue was so tender, drawing soft gasps from my lips as pleasure built in waves. When release finally crashed over me, it was transcendent, stars bursting behind my closed eyes. Afterward, Carter curled protectively around my trembling form. Our hearts beat in perfect sync as I buried my face in his thick fur. No more loneliness, no more emptiness, just this primal connection that filled every void in my soul. "My beautiful boy," I murmured, "my everything." Our bond deepened beyond ordinary understanding. Each day brought new intimacies, new discoveries, and his devotion consumed me until nothing else mattered. Not society's rules or others' judgments, just us in our private world of touch and trust. I wasn't looking to date again, but Zachary was different. A rugged veterinarian with kind eyes who actually understood animals. To my shock, Carter didn't growl or bark when they met. He approached slowly, sniffing Zachary's outstretched hand while I held my breath. "He's magnificent," Zachary said, expertly examining Max's coat. "Such loyalty in his eyes. You can tell he adores you." Those words made me nervous. Could Zachary sense the depth of our connection? Yet Carter seemed to accept him. Allowing him to join our evening walks, we fell into an odd routine of movie nights. With Cartwright at our feet, weekend hikes where Zachary taught us about local wildlife, but in private guilt, gnawed at me. My intimate moments with Carter became less frequent but more intense. Stolen afternoons while Zachary worked. I'd cry into Max's fur afterward. Confused by my conflicting desires, my loyal companion would comfort me with gentle nuzzles, his amber eyes full of understanding. "I'll never believe you," I'd whisper, "that no matter what happens with Zachary, you're my first love." A year ago, I never imagined allowing another human into our private sanctuary. But Zachary was different. I met him at my friend Kate's backyard barbecue, where he was treating her elderly retriever's arthritis. His gentle hands and quiet confidence with animals drew me in immediately. His attempts to ask me out the guilt of my secret intimacy with Carter weighed heavily, but Zachary was persistent in the kindest way, leaving his card in case Carter ever needed a checkup and bringing specialty treats when we'd bump into him at the dog park the day he first came to our house. I was a nervous wreck. Carter had driven away every other man. Yet something extraordinary happened instead of his usual aggressive display. Carter approached Zachary slowly, head slightly lowered, and sniffed his outstretched hand. "What a magnificent boy," Zachary murmured, his experienced fingers finding just the right spots behind Max's ears. "You can see the intelligence in his eyes. The bond between you two is beautiful." Those words made my heart race with anxiety. Could he somehow sense the true nature of our connection? But Zachary just smiled warmly. Completely at ease with Max's protective, naturally Zachary became a regular part of our lives. His veterinary knowledge helped me understand Carter even better, explaining his body language and teaching me new training techniques on our group hikes. He'd point out medicinal plants and tell stories about wildlife encounters from his practice. "You two saved each other," he observed one evening as Carter lay contentedly between us on the couch. "It's rare to see such perfect trust between human and animal." If only he knew the full truth of those words. While Zachary brought normally and companionship to my life, my heart remained divided. Those stolen afternoon moments with Carter became more precious and more desperate. The familiar jar in the kitchen called to me less frequently, but with greater intensity. After our private intimacies, I'd hold Carter close, breathing in his musky scent while guilt and confusion wore inside me. His amber eyes never judged and only offered unconditional love and acceptance of my torn nature. Zachary represented everything I should want: stability, understanding, a chance at a conventional future. He even talked about us moving in together and getting Carter a companion dog. The thought terrified me. How could I maintain my deepest connection while sharing a home with someone else tonight? Watching Zachary sleep peacefully beside me while Carter keeps his loyal vigil. By the time I realize I'm at a crossroads. Can I truly bridge these two worlds, or must I choose between socially acceptable love and the primal bond that saved my soul on our last night alone together before Zachary was due to? Tears streamed down my face as I held Carter close. The familiar jar sat unopened on my bedside table, a symbol of what I had to leave behind. "You saved me," I whispered into his fur, breathing in his comforting scent one last time when I was broken and alone. "You put me back together." Carter sensed my emotional state, pressing his warm body against mine as he always did when I cried. Amber eyes held such understanding, such acceptance of whatever I chose. One final time, I reached for the jar with trembling hands. Our intimate connection that night was bittersweet. Knowing it would be our last, his gentle attention brought me to that familiar peak of pleasure, but this time my ecstasy was mixed with soft sobs afterward. Carter curled protectively around me. As always, his steady heartbeat soothing my aching soul. "I'll always love you differently than," I murmured. "But we have to move forward." In the following weeks, I packed away certain items hiding evidence of our special bond. The jar was buried deep in the trash, yet Max's devotion never wavered. He accepted Zachary's increasing presence with grace, as if understanding this was for me. Sometimes I still catch his knowing gaze in private moments, remembering what we shared. But we found a new normal now. My beautiful boy remains my protector and confidant, while Zachary gives me the human love I need. Some nights I still cry into Max's for missing our deepest intimacy, but his gentle nuzzles remind me that our love transcends the physical and will always share a soul-deep connection that no one else could understand. That last night together before Zachary would move in, my skin tingled with anticipation and sadness. Max's deep amber eyes watched me reach for the jar one final time, his tail softly thumping against the sheets. "Come here, my beautiful boy," I whispered. His warm breath against my skin made me shiver. That talented tongue that had brought me so much pleasure over our years together worked its magic once more. Each tender stroke sent electricity through my body, building that familiar tension. I arched and gasped, fingers tangling in his thick fur. The way he knew exactly how to touch me and how to drive me wild. No human could compare to his instinctive understanding of my needs. His powerful body pressed against mine as waves of pleasure crashed over me again and again. Afterwards, I cried into his fur, knowing we'd never share this intimacy again. His gentle whimpers and nuzzles comforted me as always. We fell asleep, tangled together, his steady heartbeat matching mine. The next day, I buried the empty jar deep in the trash, saying goodbye to that chapter of our lives. Though our physical connection had to end, the soul-deep bond we shared would never fade. Carter seemed to understand, accepting Zachary's presence with quiet dignity, sometimes late at night. I still catch his knowing gaze and remember those passionate moments we shared. But we found a new way forward for our love, transforming into something society could accept while remaining uniquely ours. Zachary moved in on a sunny Saturday. His boxes mixing with my carefully sanitized space. I'd spent weeks erasing evidence of my past intimacies with Carter. Certain sheets disappeared. Specific items buried deep in garbage bags taken far from home. That first night together as a proper household. Lay awake between Zachary's arm draped over my waist while Carter watched from his new bed across the room. Those amber eyes held such understanding and acceptance of our evolution still. My body remembered his touch. His talented tongue that had brought such pleasure. I shivered at the "everything okay?" Zachary mumbled, sleepily pulling me closer, just adjusting. I whispered back, watching Max's tail thump softly against his bed. The following weeks brought new routines. Morning walks became a trio instead of our private communion. Carter adapted gracefully. Though sometimes during quiet moments alone he'd press against me with that old, familiar intensity. My heart would race, body responding to memories of our passionate past. During intimate moments with Zachary, Carter would retreat to the living room, a gentleman's courtesy that made my chest ache with gratitude and guilt. Yet sometimes I'd catch those knowing eyes and flush hot, remembering how thoroughly my beautiful boy had once claimed me. The jar of peanut butter now stayed firmly in the kitchen cabinet, used only for occasional sandwiches, but every time I opened it, my fingers would tremble slightly, remembering those wild nights of abandoned pleasure.